Greetings, dear ones. Welcome to this very special podcast episode. Today we're going to do something different. I wanted to use a bit of my mapping, world mapping, world making sense of the world mapping exercises. I wanted to share this with you because I figured that, well, I am in a very, very deep process of healing and forgiveness and very deep heart space unraveling. And there is a very profound a very profound level of clearing that is happening at the moment, and it can only occur if we go deep enough into ourselves, into the process, into our own soul. And there is nothing like the twin soul journey to help you do that. And I wanted to help you also understand a bit of this process, and maybe hopefully this will give you some light bulbs and help you go even deeper, okay, even deeper into this process of forgiveness, because this is what the love warriors came here to do. And now it's easier said than done. I'm right there with you. But if we have the context, if we look at things from a higher perspective, now this does not excuse the behavior. Sorry, I received a call. Just give me a second. Okay, here we go. If we look at things from a higher perspective, from the higher plan that we have set for ourselves, this will allow us to transmute the low vibrational and state of being of, for example, righteousness, just holding on to pain, holding on to this, because this is also ego, right? Identifying with the part of you that has been wounded. Okay, so today I'm going to teach you a little bit of how to transmute these energies, how to identify them. And first and foremost, I want to help you see the bigger picture of why, okay? Why we came here to do that, okay? Because without the reason behind it, without the purpose, it is very hard, okay? It is very, very hard. So this is a representation. By the way, it is all very simplistic, but the teaching is the most important one. So please just don't focus too much on the visuals, but the explanation. All right, so this is a representation of the soul, okay? The soul in the higher dimension, the higher self, what we call the higher self, okay? In that state, we are in wholeness. The feminine and the masculine, they're one. And this is, in this state, this is also when we are connected to higher love, pure love from God's source energy. This is when we are fully embodying our soul purpose. We're fully in alignment with our soul family. This is what 5D New Earth is all about. This is your ascended self, okay? Now, what happens? Okay, let me see what's the next. All right, so what happens as we incarnate into the earthy soup as two different individuals, as two different humans, is that we choose boxes, right? We are we choose a name, we choose our karmic family in which we will pop up. We choose a country. We choose, obviously, with that country comes all the trauma and drama and just cultural boxes as well, religion. I forgot to mention that. Anyway, we choose some soul contracts that we're going to work through, some people that we're going to meet, some karmic people that we're going to play some scenarios with, and Earth school lessons as well, okay, that we want to work through, that we want to clear. This could be things from past lives that still need to be cleared prior to ascension, or it could be things that our soul just want to learn, just want to experience and learn from, okay, as part of our soul's expansion, as part of our soul growth. So, okay, so far so good. This is where we are at the 3D level, okay? This is where we are in perceived separation. This is, at this stage, you are still connected. You're still not programmed enough to have forgotten about your destiny, about your twin soul, about who you truly are. As I have mentioned in other episodes, I think, yeah, the episode was called I Remember You. I mentioned how I have always been connected to my twin soul, obviously, all throughout my life. But also, when I met Laura, I used to remember moments in my childhood where I was telepathically communicating with someone. I didn't know who that was. And it turns out it was her. So we were connected from a very, very young age. And not just with her. I mean, I know just many of us, that many other souls that we haven't encountered yet. I'm pretty sure that we will have many activations and many remembrances of these as we move forward into connecting with more of these souls and with our soul family. Right, so here we go. Right, now what happens, and this is our lifeline, right? As we move through life, we have all sorts of experiences that are traumatic, okay? Earth is filled with opportunities for that. So it's not even hard to, you don't even have to look for them. They're going to be looking for you. Now they don't necessarily happen at the same time, but I don't know why I just did it this way. Anyway, some of you could have earlier experiences. The timelines are not equal, right? You both have your own individual soul paths. Now, what is interesting here is that because you share a telepathic bond, you will feel the other person's trauma. So you have double trauma as a twin soul. Now, it's, yeah, sometimes I'm pretty sure that throughout your life you have had moments where you just felt like crap and you didn't know why, right? Well, now you know. So, this is, okay, so these trauma, what they do is that they create sub-personalities. And these are the parts of us that go through a process of our soul. Our soul, as we saw, this higher self, goes through process of fragmentation, okay? And we develop sub-personalities that will protect our soul and our authentic essence, okay? This could be any sort of traumas, from abandonment, rejection, abuse, betrayal, any kind of abuse. And as highly sensitive souls, it's soul fragmentation happens, first of all, at a very young age, because of how unfamiliar we are with Earth, with the concept of Earth and the density here and separation and all that stuff. And so, as an advanced soul, we have many fragmentations that happen throughout our life. And this is why you may have felt that you've been through so much in your life. It's because your soul had to go through these experiences to be able to protect yourself as you go through life, okay? Because when you carry this much light, when you carry this much higher wisdom, it's very triggering for those around you. And so you have learned throughout your life that shining your light is not safe. So what you did is that you turned into someone who would be inhibited, someone who would or you become very reactive towards judgment or any sort of personality that you developed as a result of the rejection you have been met with, all these traumatic experiences, whether they were inside of your family or in school or in society, they all created a persona, okay? So, and with these subpersonalities, there comes a bunch of just subconscious beliefs, okay? Subconscious rules that we live by. And these could be men are not trustworthy. These could be women are a certain way, or women only want money, or relationships are hard, or they are love is painful, okay? All these things that we have witnessed and we have stored within our system creates just a bunch of trauma. Okay, I wrote here bunch of trauma. And so what happens, okay, and it also creates an energetic field around ourselves in our aura, okay? It's just we're emanating that signal, that frequency that is going to attract the people that are a match of that frequency. So guess what? If you carry a deeply ingrained belief of men are not trustworthy, guess what you're going to attract? You're going to keep attracting men. And I just used the example of men that are going to prove to you that you are going to confirm to yourself your own beliefs. This is how it works. This is the looping, the 3D karmic looping of the third dimensional realities. Like you are, unless you transcend and unless you heal that wound, you're just going to live inside of the same bubble, inside of the same matrix of experiences at that particular level of consciousness, at that particular level of frequency. But trauma creates a split in ourselves, which means that we, when our soul is fragmented, we are at a very low level of consciousness because we're not connected to our higher self. We're not in our wholeness. We're not in our most authentic essence and most embodied higher self. Now, right. So what happens throughout our life is that we either, I'm gonna use a bit of a personal example. Like personally, I have just really stayed away from relationships. Just constantly rejected opportunities and really have been pretty much in defense mode my whole life because of all the trauma and all the painful experiences. I just completely rejected love as something that would even be in my radar or in my soul path. Now, of course, I've always carried this soul bond and this connection that was just that felt impossible. It truly felt impossible to have that on Earth, because you reach a point where you're just, this is so overwhelmed by all the experiences you had that is just, it becomes hard to raise your vibration up to a level where you can still project, when you can still hope, where you can still envision that for yourself. So Now, on the other hand, it depends also on the kind of attachments that you develop, on your intimacy, on your relationship with intimacy, how you have been raised, what were the trauma bonds in your family, all of that. Now, let's say one other partner could have been attached to a karmic partner who were bonding over trauma. This is a trauma bond. The only reason why they were stuck in that particular marriage or codependent relationship was because of the wounds that they were both feeding off each other and not allowing to transcend and heal. Because when you heal a part of yourself that is, so the other person is simply an extension of your unhealed self. When you heal, that bond is no longer there because it's exactly what it is. A connection that is a trauma bond. When the trauma is no longer there, there is no bond. Okay, but the soul bond, the soul cannot leave. Do you see the difference between soul bond and trauma bond? The karmic connections are trauma bond, meaning so long you stay in a state of trauma, unwilling to heal your deep-seated wounds, you will be connected to that person, and it will be toxic, and it will be just very, very destructive. It will prevent you both from just being who you truly are. And it's the unwillingness of healing that is keeping you stuck. That's just what it is. But karmic contracts have an expiration point because it's just not sustainable. We cannot live in trauma. Especially not right now when we are collectively ascending. We are collectively getting away and getting out of these cycles of trauma and repeating distorted patterns, recycling these patterns and energetic imprintings from our family and from trauma and from lifetimes, etc. Okay, so the soul bond, however, it's eternal. I mean, we saw you guys are bonded. You are at a very high level. You're freaking one. So, of course, when you meet, even beneath all that trauma, let me see if I can find. Oh, I don't have the. Okay, yeah. Even beneath all that trauma that comes from, conditioning, the separation agenda, all your past wounds, beneath all that, there is a soul recognition, okay? But because you have identified yourself so much with that persona, and you have invested so much in a life that was built on trauma, it's like you kind of don't know how to grasp, how to understand this connection. And you will still perceive it from the level of your traumas. You will still perceive it. You will still project onto the other person that is your mirror, because it reflects your own soul back to you, and will push you back into your authentic state of being, because you don't quite understand why this attraction towards that person, okay? At first, it may feel purely sexual, or it may feel emotional, or it may feel mental as well, right? Depends on how you guys connect. But you cannot really quite grasp it, because you have been so out of touch, and so out of touch with your soul. And in the drawing, I specifically showed how we are moving away as trauma happens. We're moving away and away and away from each other. So when you meet, there is this distance between you, because there's distance between you, the personality that you have become, and your soul. And this encounter, this twin flame encounter, twin soul encounter, will just make you just crumble your whole life, because everything that you believe that was a foundation and that was built on lies will crumble because of because of how much you've been exposed to the truth, which was your soul. Actually, the other person didn't even have to do anything. And twin soul connection, the twin soul bonds are so freaking powerful that you only need to cross eyes with each other. Just okay, we're back. So let's just speed it up a little bit. All right, so yes, twin soul connections, twin soul bonds are so powerful that you only need to just glimpse each other, and it will have such a ripple effect. It will just forever change your life. And it's also meant to happen, okay? These connections are also fated, okay? They are meant to happen at a particular time, or there are potential timelines that these can happen, but eventually they will. And okay, what else? So right, so afterwards what happens is, okay, you met your twin, there was this connection, you are just recovering from the from that particular from that powerful meeting, from that powerful encounter, but you know, it can also be very subconscious. On a conscious level, you may not realize that you may have just felt an intense feeling of home or of familiarity, or just something you can't quite put a finger on, you know, can't quite explain, but it's just there. So twin souls, because of the intensity of the connection, they don't come together right away. Why? Because twin soul union can only happen at a higher level. Can only happen when you unravel all this process, when you peel back all these layers, and you basically become your higher self again. Why? Because it would be just very triggering and very painful for you to come together at any point if there would be trauma, because you can see that in the other person, right? And you can see that where there's trauma, there's no unconditional love, and twin souls have a soul contract of coming together in unconditional love at a higher level, and their contract is to ascend, is to meet in the 5D, okay? And the 5D is a vibrational frequency, is an energetic frequency where they are aligned, okay? So unless you do all these healing of these past wounds, unless you understand who you truly are at the soul level, and you go deep into your spiritual awakening through many dark nights of the soul, basically it just is many traumas as you had, unless you do so, you will still be connecting on a low level of consciousness and with individuals that will meet you there. But the only way to access that higher level of love, that higher love, is through these ascension process, okay? Now, I know that many people say that the purpose of the twin soul connection is to ascend, and then anyone else, you can match a soulmate, you can match anyone else. I mean, sure. However, we're talking about the same energetic frequency. So if you ascend, they ascend. If they ascend, you ascend. So meeting at that level, it will just be automatic, right? So if you focus on your ascension process, then that's what you need to focus on, right? Not necessarily who is going to meet you there. Just knowing that when you embody your highest consciousness, your higher self, your higher level of being, that's when you will be met with your highest match as well. So, all right. And forgiveness, yeah, forgiveness, there is a lot of forgiveness that happens because if you haven't forgiven your past traumas, okay, all the distorted, toxic masculines and feminines that you have met all throughout your life, you will still be projecting that onto the other person. And guess what? The other person will behave just exactly like your first boyfriend did, your father did. they will, the energetic field between you will play itself out. And sometimes you will just say or do things that or you didn't even mean, but you had the impulse to do it because the other person's energetic signature made you respond this way. I hope it makes sense. So this is why we say that, oh, there is a lot of trauma bond that is happening. It's not a trauma bond that is happening between the twin souls. They reflect to you what you carry on the inside. Now it's up to you whether you're going to heal it or not. If you're still going to stay inside of those patternings, and if you're not going to transmute the trauma bond that you still carry from past energies, then it will feel like a trauma bond. But it can't be a trauma bond. A soul bond cannot be a trauma bond. It's just the energetic imprinting within yourself that will create the feeling of trauma bond, and that will reveal the past trauma bonds that you're still attached to and that are keeping your soul in a state of fragmentation. All right, my dear ones, if you have any questions, do let me know in the comments below. I gotta run right now, but I do hope this was helpful. If you need help with that, do reach out for a healing session. We can work through all these pieces of the puzzle to help you restore your most authentic and original blueprint. Whether you are on a twin soul journey or not, this doesn't matter. We are here for the ascension, and this is what our soul signed up for in this lifetime. And with that, I will see you in the next one. Take care, dear ones, and bye for now.